welcome to part 2 of the DWELL Development Diaries, where we'll be unpacking and getting into the exclusive Brettenwood coastal estate here on the KZN North Coast. And it's a little bit unfortunate we aren't in a position to be in conversation with the late Brett Hewlett, as he was so passionate and proud about what he had created at Brettenwood. We do, however, have our very own Greg Simmonds, who is a brand ambassador of the estate in his own right. He's been living and breathing the Brettenwood dream for over 10 years now, and he's really watched the estate evolve into one of the leading flagship estates on the North Coast. Welcome, Mr. Simmonds.
Thanks so much, Dave. Great to be here, man.
Thank you. Greg, can you tell us Brettenwood, when the land was acquired and what was the history behind it?
So yeah, the original land was acquired in the early 2000s. Brett always referred to a story where he flew up to Johannesburg and purchased the land on auction for 100,000 Rand.
Sure.
Yeah, it's quite incredible to see what's sort of evolved from that. But the formal establishment happened only in 2004, where it became a registered estate, which is, as we know today, Brettenwood Coastal Estate. And yeah, understandably, the concept of gated estate living on the KZN North Coast was quite a new thing at the time. So it's taken time for the concept to evolve into what we know today, which is a household brand. And yeah, we can all be very proud of what's evolved. Yeah.
Got you. And Greg, what was Brett's vision? What was his plan with Brettenwood? Was it always going to be this multi-generation type estate with like heavy focus on your retirement market, or what was his thoughts on bringing that product to market?
Yeah, if I look at Brett as a person, he was always passionate about family. He was passionate about his community. He was a farmer at heart. So your original farmer practically was a go-getter, a doer. So that was his vision. He had a retirement very close to his heart too. He always saw there being a place for the retiree markets to either move from your Johannesburg, surrounding Durban areas, to relocate to the North Coast. So although the original developments had a retirement focus, it was at large a multi-generational estate or lifestyle estate to offer something for everyone of all different generations, ages, etc.
Got you.
Yeah.
Greg, in your opinion, the challenges met by the developer, met by Brett over the actual development period, are there any specific role players, professionals, part of the development team, if you want to call it, who are instrumental in the growth and the lifespan up to date that were instrumental in the project?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's this misconception in the market that being a developer or bringing a development to market is a romantic game. The truth is it's an incredibly challenging terrain to navigate through to bring these estates to market. But if it weren't for those original professionals, the likes of your town planners, your Francois van der Merwes, your Lucas Aces, your engineers, architects, etc., we would be nowhere today.
Of course.
Brett again had the grit to drive that engine. But yeah, your challenges are broad in the development space. You've got the financial or global financial restrictions, your national financial restrictions, your politics, council challenges, weather.
Yeah.
These are all things that play into the challenge of any developer. But I think what we are very fortunate for in our area is the general professionals that work within this node.
Yeah.
And they've been instrumental in bringing this product to life. Yeah. So.
And what I found interesting was in the early 2000s. I remember finishing school around 2002, 2003. Brettenwood, Dunkirk estate were these new mega estates hitting the North Coast from the Sleepy Hollow town that I was used to and you were used to growing up.
Yes.
When was the actual tipping point for Brettenwood for it to really find its feet and to really start galloping in terms of sales in the States? I remember, again, it was late 2000s, not just Brettenwood, but Dunkirk and Zimbiti. The very similar timing. Was it? Do you think it had to do a lot with this emigration north, or do you think it was got to do with more of the establishment facilities?
Yeah.
When was that tipping point,
Yeah.
and what do you think it was?
Yeah, I think we overlook how instrumental the relocation of the airport was.
Yeah, of course.
In a respect, the airport came to within 20 minutes of Belito.
And everyone spoke about that. All
and
these
everyone
events
spoke
said,
about
everyone's
it.
going to move here.
And it was a historical idea that maybe the airport would move. And I think people this market underestimated just how crucial it was in our growth. And to give that Joburg family who would sort of navigate between or move between KZN and Joburg flexibility to live here and still work in Joburg became a reality.
Yeah.
And coupled with that, and I always make reference to Zimbiti Eco Estates as what was at the time, I would say, the lifestyle mothership, and it drew a lot of attention to our area, and people coming and investigating, what lifestyle choices there were at the time, would consider a number of estates, being Dunkirk, being Brettenwood. And I think for Brettenwood specifically, when that market base would arrive at the estate, the value for money proposition was very attractive.
Yeah.
You were able, at that time, we're talking, when you're referring to your 2010 to 2015, you were able to procure a piece of ground and realize the dream of building a home within Brettenwood at a maybe a more cost-effective rate at the time, but from a lifestyle point of view, what Brettenwood was offering was incredible. And with the development moving and tracking along that positive trend, the then completion of the residence or Woodlands residence facility gave it an
because that's been a massive kicker, hasn't it?
Been a massive kicker. What your typical family looks for by way of facilities.
Yeah, lifestyle for the family.
Gym, pool, restaurant.
Yeah.
It was Brettenwood stuck to its guns on a policy of, no short-term letting, no holiday letting, and we saw the effects of that, because some investors would look at Brettenwood and say, well, if I can't short-term let or holiday let, then that doesn't quite work for me. But by sticking to its guns, it now, 15 years down the line, when we talk about exclusivity, your residents have access to world-class facilities and are not having to share those with the sort of short-term letter, holiday letter. So it gives Brettenwood an ability to grow incrementally each year. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
And Greg, in terms of with buyers hats on, if you're looking at Brettenwood in terms of product specific, what is the mix? Are there any new projects that have launched? Is there anything that's imminent? What is your typical options as a buyer coming into Brettenwood?
Look, Brettenwood's at the end of its development cycle, so one would refer to
it
it
great
as
because you're established.
An established estate. So there's very limited building going on in the greater area. There's still Pelican Place and Palm Swift Perch, which are the final two sectional title offerings, which if you were in the market for a freestanding home on Brettenwood at under 4 million, that was your opportunity.
Gotcha.
The reality is that's flown the coop, and if you're looking for that freestander home option on Brettenwood, it can be an expensive exercise now. But going forward, there's one or two vacant stands which your general residential property will be completed on over the next 2-3 years, and that's pretty much it done. And then the final project, which is a highly anticipated retirement add-on to the existing Forest Village development, is Brettenwood Life. And that's 140 apartments catering for that typical individual who's downscaling further in their retirement years with care. I believe they're in the final throes of confirming the professional association with the likes of Total Care. So it will have a comprehensive retirement offering. And I believe and have always maintained that, you know, a person relocating to the North Coast who's looking retirement, there's very few other estates that tick all those boxes. And you know, I know Brettenwood, in terms of its promises to make it the most comprehensive retirement solution on the North Coast, has been a challenge. But it goes back to our original sort of points about the challenges everyone experiences with developing. But I believe in 5 years from now, it will be one of the most comprehensive retirement options for anyone looking to
and retire. that was one of my questions, was your prediction in terms of where do you see Brettenwood in the next 5 years? And I think retirement, speaking on my parents' behalf as well, I think it's such an important aspect to know that it's not a maybe, or what happens if that doesn't get built. Ideally, in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to have that solution with Brettenwood Life, and you've now finished the whole circle. You know? I
mean, it's important to make reference. You know, I know we speak about Brett Hewlett and his dream and vision, but they were key role players, you know, amidst the professionals that added to the magic of what is Brettenwood. You know, they're two specific individuals. You take your Adam Watson, and when he joined Brettenwood, and I mean, arguably brought phases 2 and 3 of retirement to market. As a project coordinator, he was instrumental in that process. His execution and promises, he delivered on it. Gary Botha as well. You know, one thing I can always have a lot of almost certainty on is that what you paid for, you got, and more. There's always been a value element in terms of Brettenwood's offerings and what it leaves on the table for the end user. You know, so credit must go to those guys. And I firmly believe that they'll execute that project, Brettenwood Life, and it'll make Brettenwood a very comprehensive lifestyle choice for both young and old.
Awesome. Greg, finally, typical question that any buyer would obviously, or potential purchaser looking into the estates, Brettenwood being case in point, why should they consider Brettenwood? And I think to rather ask you the question, out of all of our leading estates, the Simmonds family, you guys have put down your roots in Brettenwood. Why did you choose Brettenwood?
Look, by default of working there, I've got to see firsthand the mechanics behind the estate. I still believe it's an incredibly well-run management association. It's got a great board of directors. The interplay between the homeowners and the developer is still a conversation, and there's synergies between both parties. But seeing it firsthand, seeing its operations, gave me the confidence to say that that's where I wanted to live. And with Wagtail coming to market at the time, it was a well-designed, well-thought-through product. Block architects who had bought something different and groovy and new and fresh to Brettenwood. For us, it ticked a lot of those boxes. And I think we're grateful to have had the opportunity to live there, and it's nice to live there now as a resident so much as a person working fundamentally for the developer.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Cool, man.
Well, there you have it, folks. An on-point, in-depth look at the exclusive Brettenwood estates, coastal estates. And Greg, thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for not just representing DWELL, but also representing Brettenwood in such a professional manner.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.